Hi. I have to tell you a little bit about my family first. I come from this really boring academic, scientific family. And, every male member is given the task of bringing back home Ivy League decals for our classic ambassador car in India. My mother's a little different. She's a bit of a hippie. She's the one who taught me how to love, and she hates it when I say that, but she is a hippie. And my father's a philosophical dude. That's not exactly how he looks, but when I was in high school, I went up to him and I said, "Pa, what is the meaning of education?" He loved philosophical questions. And he said, your education is hijacked by Industrial Revolution. He said, real education is about learning discipline. It's about learning how to learn. It's about being curious and all these beautiful things, It's about good citizenship. So I listened very carefully. He also said there's a big difference between learning and education. He said, education is what a system does to you. Learning is what you do to yourself. Education is supposed to lead to learning. So I said, wow, all of these are cool ideas. So I went back to my room. A couple of weeks later, I came back to him. I said, Pa, I decided I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to be hardworking. I'm going to be disciplined. And I'm going to be emotionally and financially independent of you guys. He was getting so emotional. He came to give me a hug. I said, wait, hold that thought. Can I quit school then? So to cut a long story short, I quit formal education after high school to pursue a learning where the world was my classroom. And what I'm really excited about in being here at National Geographic is that I've always seen myself as an explorer, and an explorer who uses art as a tool for learning more about myself and the world around me. I'm also excited because I just found out we're having our third baby. And yay, I'm really excited. Thank you. I'm shameless. And speaking of babies, I asked my 3-year-old daughter why she's being ridiculously naughty. Why? She looks at me like I'm totally mad. She shrugs her shoulder and says, I don't know, just because. And that's when it occurred to me that as we grow up, we have this peculiar part of our brain that tells us stories that make sense of our actions. It's constantly telling us a very cohesive story of who we are and the world around us. We are all storytellers, and you're probably going to hear this the whole day. We are all storytellers. Artists, doctors, hackers, paleontologists, all of us are storytellers. And I think when we share these stories with each other, it becomes knowledge. I think there are 2 ways by which we share knowledge with the world. You must remember, I quit formal education, but I continued to learn. And I've never understood the underlying structures of knowledge until I went to the real world. I think there are 2 ways by which we learn from the world. One is knowledge deployed by the expert, the individual, the school, the magazine. And then there's a newer form of knowledge, which is knowledge deployed by the crowd. But I have an issue with both these forms of knowledge. I think knowledge deployed by the individual is full of personal bias, some stake, whether it's education for good citizenship, for innovation, whatever it is, it's full of personal bias. Knowledge deployed by the crowd, imagine one truth like Wikipedia, one truth emerges from a crowd that survives all these edit wars. And that's ridiculous. It becomes disinterested. I want to see the emergence of a third form of knowledge, one in which multiple truths coexist to tell a richer understanding of who we are. And when people ask me, who are you? It's so difficult to answer that. I play all these different roles. I'm a philosopher, I'm a businessman, a politician, I'm an artist. And this is not peculiar to me. It is to everyone. And I think, for me, my art is about truth. And truth, for me, is about perspectives. Now, you must wonder why I think like this. I think like this because I come from a very small country of 1.3 billion people. It's called India. And in this country, what is strange, we know that we've heard about the corruption in the country. We've heard about the population. We've heard about, there's so many stories about the service economy. But what we don't know is it's the world's most impossible democracy. There's absolutely nothing that makes 2 Indians Indian. Not religion, not language, not food, not culture. Maybe Bollywood and cricket, but not really. Look at our banknote. We have 15 languages in which it says 1 rupee. That would scare anybody. You know, so when we talk about secularism in India, we don't say everyone comes to India and becomes a melting pot. We say you come to India and become a buffet. It's like a thali. It's a very different understanding. And this is my education. I'm a Hindu. I went to a good Christian school. I was taught by nuns, brothers, sisters, all these. But basically brought up to be a good Samaritan, and hopefully I am. And then I'd go at the end of the day to the only Hindu house in an Islamic neighborhood. And this is not unusual for most Indians. So when I had my art shows, what I would do is I was trying to recreate Indian history through multiple perspectives. A more honest document of Indian history. I think within every thinking Indian lies a Gandhian, a Marxist, and a Cartoon Network character fighting for supremacy. So when I had my first child, I was thinking, how am I going to pass on this idea of perspectives to him? So I want to share with you a children's book I made for the iPad. You know, I have a problem with children's books. I think they're full of propaganda. So I said, I'm going to counter this with my own propaganda. If you notice carefully, it's a homosexual couple bringing up a child. You don't like it? Shake it. And you have a lesbian couple. Shake it, and you have a heterosexual couple. But I think teaching perspectives is the best way to learn about a people. And that only when you teach perspectives can you teach creativity. Because creativity comes from exposure. And only when you're creative can you imagine yourself in the shoes of someone different from you. So I'd like to argue that perspectives and creativity engender empathy. Much needed in this world, right? Now, this book of mine did really well. What I made for my son became a bit of a movement. I got a book award without a single word in that book. And we got international press. TED launched it. I had millions of viewers. But there was a part of me that was really sad. Because the book that I created, that I started out to create on India's independence, never happened. Because no historian was willing to lend credibility to this project. That's because, firstly, there were many historians, both in Pakistan and India, who would fight amongst each other for who's right. Not only that, they kept changing their minds every time new evidence came along. So what I realized, and this was critical for me, is that truth is not just perspectives, but truth consists of dynamic, ever-changing perspectives. And for my art to truly come alive, I thought I have to bring dynamism. And I couldn't do it within the art world alone. I had to reach out to science. As you can see, I'm wearing this cool gadget. I want to show you my latest art project that brings live perspectives to my art. This EEG headset measures my brain waves, and it tells my computer what my mental state is, how attentive, meditative, focused I am. And then it changes my art based on my mental state. I want to introduce you to Mona Lisa 2.0. Little older than our Mona Lisa. I'm going to project my mental state onto her. As you can see live, she's reflecting my mental state. I'm going to try right now and make her smile for you by calming down. Oh. I was saying, what was I thinking? You think I could calm down in front of Nat Geo, in front of all you guys? Not bad, at least I came close. Anyway, I want to quickly show you some of the other art projects I'm working on with Sean Stevens from New View. This is a work I made for people who both love Gandhi and hate Gandhi. Use your brainwaves to keep him smiling. Everyone's getting along. You stress him out, and he'll be the cause for communal violence among the cartoons. You decide how you leave your Gandhi. This is a very simple work. I may get into trouble. I have my getaway car. It's for my American friends. It's really simple. It's just red. But then you use your brainwaves to discover that there's an entire spectrum between red and blue. It's called Learning Flexibility, America. Yeah. Thank you. Meet Venus 2.0. Really fashionable because she just got off a visit from the Indian Censorship Bureau. Don't like censorship? Think naughty thoughts, use your brainwaves, and you can uncensor her. And when you completely uncensor her, you can even set her free. speaking of censorship, the one thing you cannot censor are your brainwaves. You may be able to censor your words, but not your thoughts, because half of them come from the subconscious. So the next time you come and see my art show, be careful what you think, because you're going to participate to bring my work to life using your biochemistry, your brainwaves, your thoughts. And you can't even help yourself but be honest. The role of my spectator has now changed from someone who's just looking at my work or buying my work, and don't stop doing that, but also be a co-creator, participate in bringing my work to life. And for me, it's really exciting that I'm here because I believe that I could have never done this within the silos of the art world. I had to learn to color outside the line and reach out to science. We're here to explore with the scientists. I think of art and science as not in competition, but really as complementary to each other. And I hope that science and technology will return this favor by working with artists to explore the world. I think art and science are two eyes of the same body. Open one eye and you see this beautiful world around you. Open the other and it adds a kind of depth you can't even articulate. You know, I told you I'm having another baby, and I'm thinking about what kind of a world do I want to leave behind for my child. And the truth is, I cannot promise my child a life without bias. We're all bloody biased. But I promise to bias my child with as many perspectives as possible. And I hope you all here will use artists to help you share your story with multiple perspectives and bias everyone with as many perspectives as possible. Thank you so much.